Hey everybody, my name is Brian. I work for an NFT startup called Hyperspace XYZ, which is a trading platform for Solana NFTs. And today, where I'm going to talk about uh, the only ways that NFTs can succeed, having been in this industry for almost 9 months now. And by succeed, I mean if it doesn't do the following things, I personally believe that it will not work. To start off with, the current way that it's most popularized will certainly not work. A lot of it is like gambling. You bet on this project succeeding, this project following up on the promises that it makes based off the NFTs you buy, and then the NFT itself taking off for whatever anticipatory partnership, relationship, utility reasons, and then you making money off of that NFT. 99.99999% of these NFTs either don't do the things that they promised, disappear, or called rugs, or just end up dying down, even though they continue to deliver. People aren't trading these, they're not making any money, and they just falter away. Kind of like very early stage companies that either don't deliver, the founders run away, or they do deliver, but people don't seem to care because what they're delivering doesn't really matter and doesn't bring real life utility. There's a lot of buzzwords that a lot of these projects use, like metaverse or staking, or sometimes they use DeFi, sniper, all these different words that people might use as anticipatory positive signals. But at the end of the day, if they don't deliver, and especially if they deliver something that people don't really need or like or don't view as cool, they don't do well and they will fail. Um, I personally think largely in three buckets where NFTs come in into real life and how it will actually bring value to people and it will continue to allow it to exist and succeed. Largely finance, commercialization, and community. In terms of finance, I think if NFTs serve as a bedrock for fundraising, a new way to kind of do a GoFundMe, and people have ownership. The everyday person now can have ownership into these new ventures that have cool ideas, whether it be selling things over e-commerce or providing utility for a company, having some form of a NFT based service, something that helps enrich the NFT experience, but it's based around an NFT, then I think it could succeed. Obviously, the negatives slash possible issues with this is regulation and taxes. A lot of this financialization of NFTs and people trading and selling and making money and trying to make a living off of this all depends on the government not coming back and saying you can't do this anymore, or enabling insane levels of taxes on these assets. One of the biggest benefits slash awe of trading these right now because of how little it's regulated and the feeling of having it decentralized and trading back and forth. But eventually the government will catch up and there will be regulation. So I think financialization is definitely possible. People are taking collateral from NFTs. I've seen people buy houses from NFTs. Um, uh, Separating these NFTs out into fragments and then selling those again, all behaving a lot like financial instruments. So financialization, while no one's completely figured it out, is definitely one route. Commercialization, I think, is very possible. So creating these ecosystem projects, metaverse projects. I think the blockchain technology is definitely here to stay. And if we enable NFTs to be the assets that dictate how digital assets are traded, which they already are, whether it be video gaming or or assets that kind of traverse both the metaverse and the real life, that could also work, because this is a bulletproof way of ensuring that you own something. When you trade something to someone else, they now own it. So this kind of is like the original purpose of having an NFT, the digitalization of assets and being able to prove on a ledger that when you own it and you give it to someone else, now they own it. I think this also has its fallbacks in the sense that this relies on people agreeing upon a relatively single system of what determines this commercialization or digitalization of the asset. If various blockchains, if multi-chains exist, which they do, but they are all scattered all over the place and only they're all niched into certain projects, and there's not much of this bring one thing to another thing aspect, then it really doesn't mean anything, because at the end of the day, it's the same thing as what's existing now, where different video games have their own economies and have their own items. The whole selling point of NFTizing this whole thing is the ability to bring a MapleStory item into a RuneScape item, and then bringing that into League of Legends, and then bringing it to Valorant, or whatever metaverse you might crank up. So this only works if there's some level of centralization, in my opinion, when all these players agree that you could have a transition, a transversing of these items from one place to another, and people can all agree on what is legit and what's not, which is a whole different issue of its own. But second to financialization, there's also commercialization. Third, and the thing that I am actually the most bullish on personally, and this is because of who I am, what I am, and I'm inspired from coming back from NFT NYC last week, is the community aspect. Having ownership in something for human beings means a lot. And once they have ownership in something, especially something expensive, they feel like they're a part of something and they need to give back to whatever it is. And if you are tied by this NFT and you can own, it could be a dumb picture, it could be a pixelated monkey, but people feel this attachment for you having that pixelated monkey also. And they start taking personas and embracing the identity that you hold within these group chats and the thing that you own. And this idea of weird level of exclusivity where only we have these monkeys and therefore only we can get into these parties and have these access to information and network sessions and merch and wear this together. And if you happen to run across someone who has this on the street, you could say, hey, actually, I'm one of those people. That's a very innate human feeling. Both the financialization and commercialization relies on people agreeing upon / investing into things that are relatively forced and not entirely necessary to human organizational structure. I think the community aspect actually adds an additional layer to something that's very essential to human beings, which is community and exclusivity and doing things together as a group. This also works in a marketing aspect. Companies can now buy into NFTs and really gain that audience. They can say that, hey, we're actually now also a blank monkey, and therefore you should include us in your marketing aspects. And imagine being able to capture 10,000 people, which is typically the size of a collection, by buying something that's $5,000 and instantly gaining traction for being a part of this community, having those people now be pretty obsessed and committed customers because you are now also part of their community. This is a very powerful aspect and a very powerful medium of marketing that's never really existed before, where you can quite literally buy into a community and also be able to unlock the potential that comes with that community. In terms of next steps and what I think are the biggest niche opportunities and what's really been hard is onboarding what the industry people call the normies, or normal people, people that are not Web3 native, people that are not trading and thinking about NFTs all day, perhaps truly normal people. This is very hard because you have to convince them of the need to do this. And frankly, a lot of these companies are trying to make money. They're trying to make returns on their VC investments. And of course, they want more and more people to be a part of this. A lot of VCs measure growth and success by user count, and none of this is possible without convincing them. This is all a necessary / a fun thing to partake in, and explaining something like this to people that aren't part of the industry is very hard, especially when you yourself has a lot of questions, has not figured it all out, and may not have an answer to all these questions. It's kind of like spreading like a religion, very cultish in some ways. But long story short, onboarding perhaps my mom and my dad or my neighbor Billy, who has no idea what NFTs are, don't really care, is the hard part. And there needs to be some implementation that they care about / they will care about. I do think that unless there's some insane breakthrough, which there might be given the billions and billions of dollars that has been invested, blockchain will just be another technology layer that no one really knows about or understands, the same way that you and I have no idea how this YouTube platform works or how phones work. We just use it because it works and it's now kind of a necessary part of life. Blockchain allows for digitalization of assets and ownership and proving that you own something. I think it will be added on to transactionary layers. It already has logistical things to track different items, perhaps going from one coast to the other. At the end of the day, I think that's going to be the most major application and the things that succeed. I bet a lot of big companies adopt it. I'm not sure if the financialization, the commercialization, or the community aspect will actually make it to full play. People are busy with their lives. But those are the only ways that I do think NFTs will succeed. The current method of explosive projects that may go to 100 or bust, most likely bust, is probably not going to succeed. People will get burned out. I've seen a lot of people already burnt out. So at the end of the day, go check out Hyperspace XYZ. Go trade some NFTs. Of course, not financial advice by any means. Don't do it if you don't know what NFTs are. But thanks for watching. After NFT NYC, I'm very, very bullish on the community aspect. I wish I had some high quality NFTs. And as always, I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Let's go.